Okay, we're on.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Natrona County Parks Advisory Board to order. We'll do a quick roll call here. In present, we have,
Cordell Wistison.
and on the phone, we have,
Jim Miller,
and myself, Douglas Irvin, and we have
Michael Brown.
Michael Brown representing the Parks Department. Now, let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And next item up is the approval of the December minutes. Do I have any motions with regards to the December minutes?
Move that they be accepted as read.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Thanks, Jim. And we'll approve those. And we're on to reports from the park director. Michael,
Thank you.
take it away.
I'll start with the mountain like always. The Cash Mountain Trail Center last weekend, we were able to hold high school races. Fortunately, we just had just enough snow to get it done. Also on Sunday, the Mangus ski lessons started. So those will be going on all month up there. And then what else is coming up? Middle school practices have started. High school practices are going on. We do have all but one of the runs open, and our trails open. And we've been grooming and packing as best we can to try and keep them in good condition. In February, we'll have the high school state championships. So fortunately, we should have more snow by then. Nothing new on the construction of the project, obviously, because of winter. So that's just kind of on hold right now. The trail passes, we're looking into improving the day pass purchase. Right now, you can only purchase a day pass online. You can't purchase it from a vendor. And the way the online system works right now is that from the time of purchase, you have 24 hours to use that pass. So we're looking at allowing vendors to sell them, figuring out that, as well as allowing you to put a later use date, permit date in. So
You could purchase
if you want to ski on a
advance.
Saturday, you can purchase your day pass on a Thursday to kind of make it more user friendly and helpful there.
I think that'd be a good
That'd be
idea.
great.
Yeah. That's about all I have on the mountain. I don't have any updates on bear trap shelters I just haven't had the time to reach out to the engineer, but we want to get a bid advertisement out soon for the east shelter. And then as for the trail kiosks, I still need to work on some contractual things with legal on that to get that squared away. I think that's about it. I know the snowmobile state groomer's starting to groom a little bit. So we'll see how that works out with the snow there. Are there any questions on the mountain?
Yeah, I do have a question with that. There's a couple of people that appears to be grading the roads that are normally trails. Do they have the ability to do that, or are they supposed to stop at a particular time, or what?
That would be a question for Road and Bridge. I don't have the answer. I know Easton Road, where it normally the groom trail goes on to East End for snow machining. The county's been kind of keeping that cleaned up a little bit as there's some loggers still trying to finalize a few things back in there. But as for the, the smaller internal roads, I'm not sure. You know, I guess if somebody wants to grade it, yeah, that would definitely be a question for Road and Bridge, because, you know, they're private roads for public use, but they're not maintained by the county, so I don't know if there's anything
That
saying
could
they
do.
cannot do that.
Okay, thank you.
And for the kiosks, was there a tie-in with the RDG company that we're using for the signage as well?
Yeah, so when we did the wayfinding signage and kiosk, it was, we had a contract to kind of start all of it. We decided just to go with the vehicular signs to start. They had proposed a trailhead kiosk design, and it's probably 85% complete. So we need to finalize an ad service for them to complete that design so that we can then therefore send it out to bid to get it constructed. We do have a few more years on the LWCF grant money that we are receiving. So we do have that in mind to get it done. With everything going on the mountain in the future, I am not 100% if we're going to be trying to get those kiosks constructed this year or not. Between the lodge going on, the road construction going on, some of those things. So we're going to look at it and kind of figure that out. It would either be this summer or next summer that those would be constructed.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Jim, do you have any questions on the mountain?
I think what road we're talking about, is that the Four Bells Road?
Yes,
Okay. I also saw today where the state grooming did groom those trails on over to muddy, but they hit a lot of dirt areas, so they're going to be really cautious of continuing that grooming in those areas. They said that they would try, as much as possible to continue grooming. I guess we'll see this weekend on Sunday. Mangus goes up there and their lessons because of the extreme cold weather that's coming in. They're questioning whether they'll be up there or not. Which I can understand that.
Well, and on that note, Jim, as well, I'm having discussions with my staff about what grooming we may do this weekend. With the way the temperatures are going, having staff out by themselves for one, and equipment that can potentially break at these temperatures, we may forgo grooming over the weekend. So if folks aren't happy with the conditions, it's because we made that decision to not incur excessive expense.
The staff has done that before, Mike. In previous years, when that cold snap comes like that, it's just tough grooming. So I think the best communication on that is if we can put it on your website, the county website indicating that because of the cold weather that the grooming may stop, and give a reason. And that will stop a lot of these calls that are coming in. People feel like they got to get up there and ski, which some do. They ski for 10 minutes and then they're done. But that doesn't. That still puts the groomers and those staff members in jeopardy, especially at night when they groom by themselves.
Yeah. All right. I'll get something posted on there in the morning. Okay. Out to the lakes, Pathfinder and Alcova. The Alcova Marina was planning to begin construction of their new building starting the week of January 9th, which is this week. However, some of these temperatures may have changed that course a little bit. But the good news is they're starting to work on the building. So they'll be working on getting that constructed, and the goal is to have it up and operational either at the beginning of the lake season or not long after that. We awarded a contract to WWC Engineering to investigate and prepare construction drawings for a new water and sewer system at the Alcova Trailer Park, as well as the other accessory tie-ins, the boat club, the marina, and the ski club. So they were out there last week and flew it with their drone, and we're gonna have a kind of a kickoff meeting on that design project here in the next week or two. But that's an aging system. It needs to be basically abandoned and replaced. So we're starting that process. Should have full construction drawings and engineer estimate probably towards the end of summer, late August, September. And with that, we can then start to discuss and determine how to fund replacement of that system, because I'm sure it's not going to be cheap. So, out at Pathfinder, the Hog Derby is scheduled for February 3rd. As of last week, there still wasn't any ice in the Marina Dam area. There was at Bishop's, but with this cold spell, I'm sure they're going to be able to have their event. So that's good. And I'm still continuing to work on probably 10 different projects between the cabins and the trailers, people improving their stuff. It might have been at the last meeting. I did a compliance check on docks at the cabins with the Bureau Rec. I don't know if I discussed that at the last meeting or not. And then I followed that by taking the building department out, and they issued 10 letters because there were 10 significantly hazardous docks, rotted substructure, pier, vertical supports that were completely separated, things of that sort. So we're working through that. So hopefully they can get repairs done soon. Are there any other questions about the lake and Pathfinder Alcova?
Done here. Jim, any questions out at the lake?
I bet you the ice will come on the lake this week.
Yes.
Yes. I am still trying to make staff notes on revisions to the parks rules. I would like to get my proposals in front of you guys at the next meeting.
Okay.
So I'll try and send them out beforehand. I just wanted to kind of run through those real fast on some of the ones that the staff is discussing. So we're looking at revising the winter months a little bit to kind of better suit our actual winter season. We want to change the rules so that we can allow more than one camper in certain reserve sites, because right now it says one camper and it doesn't matter. We're looking at maybe changing the time as to when a camping permit expires. You check in at 3, you have to check out by 11. It's kind of your standard motel protocol.
Yeah.
But I think we could probably adjust that to noon. Make it a little more usable, user-friendly, so you don't have to pack everything up, and you can still maybe spend a little bit of time on the lake before you have to pack up.
Okay.
I want to make sure there's clarification. There's an item in there that talks about grazing and range animals and how it's not permitted. One interpretation I get is that's not to allow your animals to graze or range on park property. But the way I read it was grazing and range animals are not allowed on park property. So that would keep horses off of park property, which obviously we have people at Bear Trap that ride. We've had people at the lake. So I want to get that kind of clarified, that, you're not ranging your cattle, but you can ride your horse if you want to.
As long as you bring your own feed.
Yeah. And then there's a correction to the fruit and berry gathering. The way the rules read is you can gather fruits and berries with the parks director's permission as long as they're consumed on site. So I'm not sure why we have to have them consumed on site. I think for private use, personal use, if somebody wants to go collect some berries from Rotary Park or Ponderosa Park and wants to take them home and can them or something to consume personally, I think that would be fine. Obviously, commercial harvest wouldn't be allowed, but, that consume on site kind of.
I didn't know that was there because I go down to Ponderosa and pick thimbleberries for the last several years.
Yeah.
You don't eat them all right there?
Oh, no.
No, I don't recall you calling the office to get permission either. So
Behind having to get permission.
I'm not sure. So that's something I kind of want to review and discuss. Need to clarify a little bit on metal detection and digging. Just really shouldn't, it says not historic sites or archaeological sites, but it's really not allowed throughout the parks. The Bureau of Rec doesn't allow it on their property, so kind of blanket wide there. The public safety section needs to kind of be cleaned up a little bit. There's some issues with the Second Amendment in the public safety. It talks about no firearms within the park, which I don't think legally we can say that. It would be more like no illegal use of firearms, but with the Second Amendment, state of Wyoming, I think we need to really look at that. If somebody wants to carry one in their vehicle, we're not checking you at the gate, but that would be technically against the rules the way they're written. So just make sure that we're with matching federal statute and state statute with the rules, that we're not going to get into some kind of little mess there. The sanitation section needs some updating. We have people that are dumping their trailers into the outhouse vaults versus the RV dump station, which causes us to have to pump them more frequently. So we need some rules in there to kind of take care of that. The slash pile, we need to kind of modify the dates of when it's open and do a little clarification on the commercial dump permit, which I don't think a lot of people know about, but if you're bringing more than 20 loads per year, you need to have a commercial dump permit, and we need to get that kind of figured out and then have that kind of tied in with the building department so that when people are doing projects, they can say, yeah, you also have to go through parks and do this. So, and then a little bit of a trail use update for the winter trails. Clarification on how different user groups should be using the winter trails, and at least have that in our rules, as well as trying to improve the signage up there to educate. But that way we can at least have the rules a little bit clearer on that. So those are the highlighted items. And if there's anything you guys think of, please send it to me, but I'll get you a draft of what staff's looking at next month, and then you guys can look at it for a month, and then we can start to go through the process, get some public input, and then figure out when we need to present it to the commissioners for their review, because they'll probably have a couple of readings before it's adopted. So.
Yep.
Does it ever go through legal?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
Is it
that'll be
before or
part of
after commissioners?
it's,
before,
Before?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
and then there's a mandatory, 45-day period.
Yep. You know, and what I'm talking about is fairly minor.
Yeah.
The last revision that was done almost 3 years ago, which took a while, hadn't been updated in a decade.
Yeah.
So my goal is here to, let's look at it every 2 or 3 years and make the modification tweaks, because when these were revised and adopted, they were before that reservation system actually went into place. So everybody, you know, put as much forethought into it as they could about that system. But now that we've operated it for over 2 years, we can see where we need to modify the rules so that we can modify the reservation system.
And it will hopefully make the process smoother and less contentious if we do it on a semi-regular
Yeah.
basis like that.
And then the last item I have is, I've been reviewing the camping fees, and I will be submitting a proposal next month of what I, am proposing we increase those to. So I'll be presenting that to you guys. We'll discuss it, and then, once you guys, you know, give the nod, then, it'll go in front of the commission to review, because they'll have to, adopt it.
Yep.
With a resolution, but they have not been updated, increased in 10 years, no, almost 12 years, except for the addition that we added of the sales tax and lodging tax, which was required by the state. And so currently, first come, first serve is $12 a night in the envelopes. That's about what it costs to reserve it online. And we like to use nice even numbers so that people don't have to be putting change in and doing heavy math. And so I'm looking at increasing that, but still being less than what most state parks are and most Forest Service sites are. But I don't know if I want to propose the camping fees as a two-step increase, as one this year and then another one in a year or two, to get us closer to what the other entities are. I do understand that state parks facilities, how do I say this nicely, are somewhat nicer than what we have. They're updated, they're maintained a little better. The tables have been upgraded. They have staff on hand at a lot of the places, where we don't. So, that's something I'm taking into account in the pricing of it. But, right now, we don't break even, with the camping and the cost of maintaining sites and operations. So, we need to get closer to that point. So I'm sure I'm going to make a lot of friends with this, but
Yeah, but I think, as you mentioned, reviewing current going rates at national forest and state sites with comparable amenities, that should more than justify keeping in line with, this is where we're going, because that's what the current going rate is.
yeah. And you know, I had somebody tell me that, you know, this year might not be a good year to do that, just because, you know, everything, inflation and everything, but the county operations feel that just like everybody else. So, trying to make everybody's tax dollars be used to the best that we can, and minimize how much we have to subsidize recreation, is kind of one of my goals. Is let's try and run this as smoothly as possible, and at least cover our bases so that we can continue to provide things and continue to replace tables and outhouse doors. You know, this year we're going to spend $35,000 on outhouse doors out at Alcova and Pathfinder, and that's because they get shot up, they rust out, they get banged in the wind, they get banged by people that want to do that. So, you know, things wear out and we have to replace them. That's all I have for my report.
Hey, is there any board questions for the Parks Director?
I have a question. Sorry, I was late. Out of curiosity, why did you go for a two-step increase instead of doing it all at once?
Because the proposed increase I have for the first step is 27%. It's from $12 to $15.
And what is the, I'm assuming you've done the national average, what is the national average?
Well, I haven't done the national average. I've looked at the local sites, state parks, and they're running about $18.
So it's still less.
Yeah. But if I did it all at once to get us to $18, we're talking a 50% increase. So
But the last increase was,
10 years ago. So I'm trying to look at it from the standpoint of our users. And, when we added the sales tax and lodging tax, there was quite a bit of outcry over that, which went from $10 to $12. And so I figured 12 to 15, it is a step in the right direction, but 12 to 18 isn't very palpable.
I think we would just need to communicate if we're doing a two-step plan,
Yeah.
say
Right.
that from the get-go,
yeah.
Right.
to say that to bring this in line and to keep this from being a subsidized recreation opportunity, we need to phase this in, and we're gonna phase it in so that it is not such a sudden impact to the user base, but it is going to be a two-step process, and we expect another increase coming.
Yeah.
That was my main fear
Yeah.
was, even if people hear what they want to hear, we all know that, and the fear would be when the second part comes, there would be outcry, we just have it waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also inflation, I mean, I realize that everybody's hurting, but once again, the cost of doing business across the board is more expensive.
Correct.
I'm sure those outhouse doors are more expensive than they were 2 years ago.
Yes,
Like,
they are. So,
so, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I just.
no, that's a good question. So, and maybe I'm gonna look at it a little bit more before presenting it to you guys, and maybe it'll be just a single step increase, and then we revisit in 3 to 5 years kind of thing. The other thing on rate increases is the trail passes haven't changed in a long time. I'm not going to be increasing those this season. The lodge is expected to come in and be operational in January of 25. So I'm thinking spring of 25, we should definitely revisit the cost of trail passes. And there'll probably be an increase there at some point.
Yep, and we can also communicate the federal system is reevaluating this. Tons of the national parks are increasing their rates for the first time in 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So this is not something that is just a local impact. This is nationwide.
And then I did leave off one thing on the agenda. Thanks, Jim, for reminding me. So over at Biathlon, as I think we may have discussed in the past, the operating agreement was through October of 24. Legal just recently provided a draft operating agreement that the county has prepared, that I've worked on quite a bit, to Casper Mountain Biathlon Club. So we're waiting to hear their comments on it and probably have a sit-down meeting to discuss it so that we can get that operating agreement in place for Casper Mountain Biathlon Club.
For the next season.
Yeah, for the next round.
Yep.
With that, is the biathlon going to hold a national or regional meet up there like they did last year?
So usually with national events, they kind of rotate around sites. So I wouldn't expect another national event, and I've not heard of any events happening at Biathlon so far for this season. But I wouldn't expect nationals to maybe come back for another 3 years or so. Biathlon's a smaller group of people versus like U.S. nationals and whatnot. But they try to float them around. It's kind of like they do the state championship. You know, it's here about every 4 years, and that way each venue gets a chance to hold that. So I wouldn't expect it to be for a few years.
You can look on the biathlon. You can look on the biathlon website and see what their schedule is, and it will indicate what races or what events they have coming up.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on there. Have you?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Okay.
Any other questions for Michael, Jim?
Just a comment. Casper Nordic Club has purchased a couple lights that be LED lights. Solar lights that will be placed in front of the two storage sheds for the junior high and high school, so they can see at nighttime. At nighttime situation, because of the light situation. And they're also putting another one in the starting area around the toilets and whatnot.
Great. Is there any other board comments? Okay, it doesn't appear that we have any public. So if there's no other business, then I think we can close out the meeting if we have a motion to that effect.
I move that we close.
Okay, do I have a second?